So going squatching.
We're going squatching, bitches. Welcome back. I had to do that from way back. Way back. I didn't want to yell in your ear. We are excited, as you can tell, that you're here for our part 2 on the moon. Not mooning people, but the moon. This is Don't Touch My Sasquatch. We explore the mysteries of the cryptid, the creepy, and the unexplainable. He's hitting the chimes over there. And we are your hosts. I am Josh.
And again, I am Mission Commander Lennon.
Indeed you are. We got a little Squatch over there.
Little Squatch is joining us. He's the lunar module captain.
He sure does. He's got the water bottle up his ass right now to keep him upright, looking like he's standing there.
Someone's got to hold him up.
Indeed. Follow us on Instagram. Don't Touch My Sasquatch Pod. Go to our website for some merch, some affiliate links, the sights, and the sounds at don'ttouchmysasquatch.com. If you're enjoying the content and you want to show your support, please join our Patreon. You'll get ad-free episodes, exclusive content, exclusive merch, and much more. If you're enjoying the content, please also... I said that twice, I think. Again. I got to delete that line. Anyways,
twice.
Please like, share, and leave us a rating. This helps us to be seen by more people, and we'd like to be seen by more everybody.
Yes, we would like as many people listening and enjoying this as they will.
Not
everyone's going to enjoy us.
Well, that's okay. Not everybody has to enjoy us.
No. But if straight will they listen, though.
But if we bring a smile to your face while dropping some knowledge on your asses, that's all we look for. Smiles. Just like that smile right there.
Old little Squatch.
Old little Squatch. So, part 2, moon mission. We got
Moons. NASA.
Apollo 17.
Apollo 17.
Why did we stop going?
We'll figure that out. We won't figure it out, but we'll talk about it.
I was about to say, how are we figuring this out? You're putting a lot of pressure on me.
The government couldn't even do that.
So what is the shit that's on the moon that we're leaving? Well, we got space junk.
It wasn't a question for me. Got it.
I'm kidding. Go ahead. He sounded so disappointed. Oh.
I've been told there's space junk.
Yeah. From the lunar missions, yeah.
Yeah.
We just throw shit.
There's rocks.
There's 3 robotic vehicles that are exploring the moon as we speak.
Currently, yes. Jesus Christ.
There is a weed whacker going on outside. There's also the ashes of
Jesus.
There's also the ashes of astrologist Eugene Shoemaker. He was sent up there in 1998 in ash form as a dying wish. No, we love the little weed whacker down there. It's hopefully not as prominent on the recording.
Jesus.
There's water and ice.
It started, I mean, you were looking around like, what is making noise?
I thought that was you doing something else. It's like, damn. Like, you couldn't hold that or pause the recording? There's water in ice form that has been found on the moon. Lennon, does this increase our possibility of maybe colonizing the moon or building a base or anything?
Possibly. Obviously, water is a very important factor in life.
It sure is. And luckily, there'll be no, like, weed whackers or lawn mowing that needs to happen.
Nice quiet space for recording. Hopefully, there's some real estate for us.
Yeah, it goes for, I think it was $86 million.
It's chunk change. I got that.
I think that's what I saw.
I'm flush with it.
Flush with what?
Cash.
That's a crock of shit. I was about to take a drink. That was going to be a long pause. So, we are on to Apollo 17.
You pointed at my computer. Yes.
I did. Yeah. Nobody can see the gestures I do. I move a lot when I talk.
Quite heavily.
And I'm not Italian. I'm German. So, yeah, we're talking about Apollo 17.
Apollo 17. Yep, that's where we're. So last episode we talked about the first manned mission.
Woohoo!
Just kidding. Talked about the first man on the moon. And this week we will be talking about the last man on the moon that we know of. Apollo 17. So Apollo 17 took off from Cape Canaveral on December 7th, 1962 on a Saturn V rocket, as did all the other Apollo missions.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, God, what?
Was it 1962 or 1972?
That's what I said.
I heard 62.
Definitely thought I said 72.
I probably heard wrong, and I'm going to listen back to this and cut this.
In the case that I spoke wrong, it was in December 7th of 1972 from Cape Canaveral. So, yeah, it was like we said, it was the last manned mission to the moon to this point. It wasn't intended to be, but due to budgets and money, the government decided this would be the last one. At first, everyone in the public was like, oh, my God, we're going to the moon. And then by this time, everyone's like, okay, next.
Been there, done that.
What it is. What about Mars? And that's where we've been ever since. On December 7th of 1972, Apollo 17 took off from Cape Canaveral on a Saturn V rocket. The mission commander was a man named Eugene A. Cernan. That doesn't sound right. It should be Michael Cernan.
No, it's Eugene Cernan.
Is it Eugene?
Eugene Cernan, Ronald
DeFeo.
Yeah, and Harrison Schmidt.
I don't know why the fuck I was thinking Michael. Michael Cera.
Well, oh, yeah.
So, Eugene A. Cernan was the mission commander. He was a former U.S. Navy pilot and a veteran astronaut. He flew the lunar module for the Apollo 10 mission. He was born in 1937, and he passed away in 2017. The next man, yes, I salute. The next man was Ronald E. Evans. He was the command module pilot, and he was hand-selected while flying fighter jets in NAM. NAM. Ronald E. Evans was born in 1933, and he passed away in 1990. Now, Apollo 17 was not originally supposed to be the last manned mission to the moon, but due to budget and financial restraints, it ended up becoming that. So,
I mean, if they didn't fucking go 200 times
just to crash it,
just to crash them,
crash right in.
Maybe we wouldn't have that issue,
right? So once they found out this was going to be the last one, the scientists actually pushed for the third member to be a man named Harrison Jack H. Schmidt. He was born in 1935 and is still alive.
Good man. Geologist, right?
Geologist. He is the first and only scientist to walk on the moon. He was one of the OG scientists at NASA in the 60s, and everyone said he had an obsession with
the moon?
Yes. A healthy obsession.
Okay. Yeah, like, which kind of obsession do we have here?
No, a good one. But so yeah, they decided to push for him to be the third, and he was, and they rounded out the crew with those three. It was the final mission to the moon. I've said that 100 times.
Was it the final mission to the moon?
I think it was the final mission to the moon with a man on it. It's not the final moon mission.
True manned mission.
Yes. Some notable records, which I'll touch more on later by the end of this, was that this particular mission, they spent a total of 3 days on the lunar surface with moonwalks lasting up to 8 hours. And they also covered a greater distance than any other mission before it. So the Apollo 17 mission started as a risky one right from the landing. The landing site itself was a dangerous spot to set down. NASA decided to touch down in a narrow valley nestled between the Taurus and Littrow Highlands. The valley was littered with craters and bordered by mountains anywhere from 6,500 to 8,200 feet tall.
Now we need those side things.
Yes.
Side sensors.
The rendezvous radar.
That's a fancy name, rendezvous radar.
That's what it's called.
I know, I just like the name.
It is fancy. The valley was littered with craters and bordered by mountains anywhere from 6,500 feet to 8,200 feet, which was against standard rules of landing zones selected by NASA.
At this point, we just said, fuck it.
Yeah, and we'll see. The landing site also made it so NASA would go against their long-standing rulings of a free return trajectory, meaning that the craft would enter into a lunar orbit and return back to Earth in the event of an engine failure of the command and service module, as well as rules against launching at night. So when they left Earth, they actually launched at night.
Yeah, it was like 3 a.m.?
12:30.
12, whatever. Same difference.
Yes. But it was, I think there was some issues that they were going to abort it for a while. It was like an hour and a half they sat there.
Really?
With issues that they were trying to figure out. I can't remember for sure what the issues were right now, but it still did launch regardless. It would have launched at like 11 o'clock. So as well as that, the landing site that they chose went against quite a few rules that NASA had made standing for years.
Right.
So why throw out those safety procedures for this particular mission? What was so important about this landing site?
You were confusing me. I thought you were asking me a question. Didn't know if they were rhetorical. Didn't want to pull what you pulled on me last week.
What, you pulled on me.
No, you pulled on me.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
I don't remember. I said, this wasn't a question for me to answer.
Yes.
So on this landing site, there is a strange hexagonal mountain next to the landing site called the South Massif, Massif, for anyone want to check out pictures of it.
Is it massive?
It is massive. It's a massive. Now, the back of this mountain has weird shape going on with it. It's either caved in or imploded, but the back of it is like caved in on itself.
Gotcha.
So the geometrical anomaly was strange to say the least because it's also a hexagon. It's almost a perfect hexagon.
How many geographical shapes are in nature?
Do you know?
No, that was a rhetorical question.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. There's a lot of speculation about why they chose this landing site because, like I said, again, it's in a valley, got mountains next to it.
For sure.
But also, fuck you. But they also got this weird mountain that's got a strange implosion or collapse on it.
Right.
So the official report is that the site was chosen due to recent landslide activity to expose fresh moon rocks and recent volcanic activity. And recent volcanic attack. Oh my God!
The volcanoes are attacking.
And
how does a volcano attack? That's a good question.
Lava.
Does it just come out with an
throws
arm?
lava.
Yeah. It turns German too. Yeah.
And recent volcanic activity in the area. Nailed it. Thank you, everyone. So they landed successfully. There's a whole video on all of this online, pretty much from takeoff to landing.
How
on YouTube?
How did they get the video of it? It must have been studioed.
Must have been
studioed. Wow, recorded in the studio.
Well, the landing from inside the craft, but yeah.
See,
yes, yeah.
Their
first moonwalk lasted 7 hours and 12 minutes.
It's a hell of a moonwalk.
Seriously. During this moonwalk, the crew deployed the Advanced Lunar Science Experiment Package, ASLEP. ASLEP.
ASLEP?
ASLEP.
ASLEP?
ASLEP. And used the rover to travel to a nearby crater. Cernan and Schmidt, I'm sorry, I should preface this. Cernan and Schmidt were the two that went onto the surface.
Poor old Ronald had to be stuck in the Michael.
Yes, but he has some very notable things about him.
About him or happen?
About his stay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know which way that was going.
Nope, it's all good, my bad. We'll get into that. But his orbits were not for naught, we'll say.
Not for naught.
Yes.
Ooh, they had a purpose.
Yes.
I like it. Can't wait to hear.
So Cernan and Schmidt were the two who went to the moon. So Cernan and Schmidt also planted the U.S. flag. This was the same U.S. flag that hung in Houston's command room since Apollo 10. So it's kind of a... Yes, and
it's not going in.
And the video of them on the moon, too, because they took a shit ton of video.
Yeah.
The video of them on the moon, they're having trouble getting it hammered into the surface, too.
I think they all were. I mean,
they all did, yeah. They had to. So that was the first moonwalk. The second moonwalk lasted 7 hours and 37 minutes this time.
These bastards, they're taking a whole shift, a work shift.
Right.
With no bathroom. Well, they probably went in their soup, but
they got the diapers.
They got the diapers from Playtex.
7 hours, 37 minutes. This is the longest moonwalk of any Apollo mission. They hopped up in the rover and drove a total of 11.8 miles.
They be cruising.
They do be cruising. They drove 11.8 miles on the surface of the moon that day with the rover.
Like back and forth, or like 7? Get out of here, fly. 6.
That whole moonwalk total. So
Got it. So it could be like in circles, wherever, but
it could be, but still, it's 11 miles.
I didn't know if they went, like I said, like 6.75 miles out away from it and then back.
Right. No. But it was another record. It was another record for the Apollo program.
Gotcha.
For the most
mileage.
Distance covered on a single trip, or on a single moonwalk. On the rover trip, they drove to the South Massif and checked out the sites that were to be seen, and they also took some samples.
Saw some sites and grabbed some samples.
Yep. So if you remember, the South Massif was the weird imploded one.
Yes.
Yep. So the third and final moonwalk of not just the Apollo mission, but of also NASA's Lunar Manned program lasted 7 hours and 16 minutes. And they once again took a trip in the rover, but this time they visited the North Massif, obviously on the other side of the valley.
Right.
And took a trip. I went up a line. They visited the North Massif this time, the mountain on the other side of the Atlantic Valley. This also marked the longest lunar stay of any Apollo mission prior, with a total of 74 hours, 59 minutes, and 38 seconds spent on the lunar surface.
That's a lot.
That's a long-ass time. The Command Service Module completed the most lunar orbits at 75, setting the record for the most time of a manned lunar orbit at 147 hours, 48 minutes. So he did have some accomplishments of his own, just floating and orbiting by himself.
Floating in the sky.
Floating in the sky. So, yeah, most orbits and most time orbiting. So Cernan and Schmidt, as well as having the record for the longest moonwalk, also hold the record for the longest lunar excursion with 22 hours, 5 minutes, and 4 seconds. So all of their moonwalks added up in one mission. The rover also set a record for the most distance traveled at 21.75 miles during one of their trips. This is a cool little story I read. During one of their trips, the mudguard on the rover broke, leaving the astronauts to get pelted with rocks and debris. So Cernan was worried that this would be the end of their rover driving, but NASA came up with a solution. So when they have issues like this, they got people back in Houston or wherever on Earth.
They're back on Earth. So they got people back on Earth?
When this happens, they got people back on Earth who, if you've seen The Martian, it's exactly like that. Yeah. Where they got people sitting there and they got all the same tools that they have up and materials that got up there with them, and they have to engineer something to fix the problem with just what they have. So this mudguard broke, and it would have been the end of their, trip, and they were planning on going quite a ways around getting samples.
Right.
So their solution was to use duct tape and a laminated map to create a makeshift guard. So one of the maps of the area that was laminated that they had for out on their spacewalk.
Did it work?
They duct taped it to the fucking thing, and sure as shit did work.
They just MacGyvered the fuck out of that thing.
Yep. So this extended their voyages that's extended their drive time.
Voyages.
Their excursions to different mountains. So, and lastly, another record that they set was setting the record for the most poundage of lunar rock and soil samples brought back to Earth, weighing in at 253 pounds.
That's going to be a hell of a baggage claim.
Yep. Sure is. You got to claim that in customs. So the lunar module was loaded up with crew and samples and lifted off of the moon at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on December 14th, 1972. The final footsteps of man on the surface of the moon have been taken, and now it's time for the return voyage. On the return trip to Earth, astronaut Evans completed a spacewalk which lasted 1 hour, 7 minutes.
I saw that. That was to get the camera, right?
Yes. Film samples and camera, yes. Evans was connected to the command service module by a 23-foot tether. He made 3 trips to the scientific instrument module bay that was attached to the command service module. this would be the last deep spacewalk to date.
Wait, last deep space? Oh, deep space, not
Deep
like orbiting.
space.
Yeah. Nope. I was about to say, don't we have people constantly walking on?
Yeah, deep space.
Real deep.
Which is wild that 1972, that was the last one.
Why did we
We just stopped going.
But, yeah. Well, maybe you get to this later, but I thought there was another planned mission like in 2024 or something, but it's not happening.
Yeah, I read about it, but I didn't put it in there. But yes, I did. I mean, I follow that anyway, not just researching. But yes, that is something that was planned, but I don't think it's happening.
It's not. It's not happening in 2024. Not never happening. But
yeah,
I just read it's not happening in 2024.
I mean, could you imagine going there nowadays? Like, just with our modern stuff, since we haven't been there since the 70s. Like, I don't know.
It's going to be a whole different
ball game.
Different pictures too. Yeah. Of course, I wonder if the robotic. I'd never actually checked this. I don't know why. The robots on there, the robots on there, they actually take pictures too. I never checked the pictures from the robots.
So Apollo 17 was the last manned lunar mission to the moon that we know of.
I want to go back, and I want to set up our podcast studio there because it, I think, would yield lots of fun stuff.
It would be pretty wild. I would like to go for the first time. I don't know when you went.
Did I say go back?
You said go back.
I wasn't supposed to disclose that information. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you done did it. So this week, I've been reading a book called Ancient Aliens on the Moon by Mike Bara. The premise of the book is the evidence of ancient alien structures on the moon through pictures and data that he has thoroughly researched. He also produces an overwhelming case based on science that there are indeed structures on the moon. So pretty much the whole premise of this book leads to and blends into the fact, or the theory, I should say, of the structures being in line with the dome theory.
What's the dome theory?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Absolutely.
So the dome theory basically comes down to that there's dome-like glass structures on the moon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what they say. So there's quite a few. Sorry.
I was looking at a picture that you have, and
oh, yeah.
I got distracted.
Well, when you get to my pictures, which
I don't know if you're ready for that. I just was more of. Nice. I was like, woo.
Yes, it's in chronological order. Yes. After seeing a picture of the Earthrise through the moon captured by the Apollo 10 photos, award-winning architect Robert Feartech noticed that the Earth looked distorted like the moonrise does on Earth. The problem with this is that the moon actually looks this way to us because we are observing it through our atmosphere.
Right.
Moon doesn't have an atmosphere, or at least not one like ours. It's got
a thin one, but
exosphere.
Yeah. Exosphere.
So he added all of the photos that supported the dome theory into a ray tracing program and went to work. He was able to create, using his best ideas, a lunar dome, and it mirrored the same type of Earthrise that we see on the picture from Apollo 10.
So like someone took it from the dome type of deal?
The Apollo 10 mission was orbiting the moon.
Right.
And they took a picture of the Earthrise.
Okay.
Over top of the Mare Smithy. Smythii.
Smithy sounds fine.
Yep. Or Smithy. But
maybe it's Smitty. Who knows?
Yeah, so they took this picture of the Earthrise, and it looks, again, similar to ours does for the moon on Earth. But the thinking is that they took this picture through a glass dome. Right. Because it's like right on the edge as they're orbiting around. It's like right on the edge of the moon. The author of this book highly supports the glass dome theory and provides highly detailed research to back glass-like structures on the moon. But his thinking, as well as some of the other researchers that he talks to in this book, is that the structures aren't like a dome, as he calls them, a watch glass dome.
Right.
But they're more like glass-like lattice scaffolding structures. Because their thinking in this is that it's multi-layered and it's more like scaffolding.
Gotcha.
There's some other stuff I'll get into in here to talk about the evidence of it. But the thinking is these domes are predominantly in mares, and light doesn't reflect off of the glass like it does the soil, because the light must travel through all these layers before coming back, and it can't reflect back by the time it goes through all these layers. So they think that structures are hidden in the mares. But then there are also pictures of actual glass watch like domes. Mm-hmm. So, but we'll get into some of that. So the first point I'm going to talk about, but before I get into this, I want to talk about this book. Everyone check this book out. I said it again, but there's hundreds of pictures in this book.
Right.
That
you can't post here,
I can't post, yeah. So one of the stories he talks about in there, I don't know if some of these pictures were taken from there, but this one guy was actually given an order from NASA to destroy a bunch of pictures from the Apollo missions.
Execute Order 66.
Yep. Supposedly, according to this book, this is what happened. So a lot of these pictures I couldn't find online. I don't know if they're from this, that this guy kept some negatives. I don't know what the story is, but these pictures are in there, and I definitely recommend everybody checking this book out. It's got a lot of pretty good info in it. Some pictures that has a lot of backing research to back it.
Right.
So you should really check it out. So the first point I'm going to talk about is called the Blair Cuspids. Reference number frame LO2-61H3 for anyone who wants to look it up.
I see it. Can you put these on Instagram, or are we not allowed to?
I don't know. We have to look into that. Because some of these pictures, I couldn't find the original. I can only find what some, like if you look at some of the ones I have on here, there's like another picture next to it with some drawings on it.
Right.
That's from another website. But that's the only picture I could find. So that's why I'm saying everyone should check out this book, because it's got the original pictures in it.
Maybe to be safe, we don't post them on Instagram for this time.
That's what I'm saying.
Just not to get in trouble.
That's what I'm thinking. So I'll give everyone the frame numbers for what I can, and you can check them out on your own.
Perfect.
And for some of them, you guys might even be able to find, like, some people have pointed out things I'm talking about.
Right. It's perfect.
So the Blair Cuspids. So the Lunar Orbiter program, as I said before, was designed to be a landing site reconnaissance mission for the Apollo missions. It would help map the lunar surface. Bird threw me off. I thought it was a ringtone.
It was the same time.
Wild.
Map the show the landscape, so you could go, okay, we're gonna land on this spot.
Yes. Try and find good spots to land.
And that's gonna be. Looking at these photos, that's gonna be difficult. Like, okay, so that's the spot we're gonna land, and you get there, it's like this all looks the fucking same to me.
Right. So the lunar orbiters would orbit the moon's surface at an altitude of 32 miles, and it would snap the pictures and send them back. The Lunar Orbiter 2 took 609 high-res frames and 208 medium-res frames around the moon's equator. It's a lot of fucking pictures.
609.
Yeah. And most of the missions are like that with pictures-wise. So when people say that they sit there and comb through, in the book, they say they sit there and they comb through every picture. Right. Holy fucking shit. That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Plus you get a tweak. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say the article, 2 articles I read, I told you about before we started recording. The same thing. He went through a ton of photos, and the photos he couldn't find or were too grainy of a copy he actually was able to get. I mean, that's a lot of fucking photos.
Right. And, I mean, some of these you got to adjust all the stuff on them just to even be able to try and see some stuff, or maybe even make things a little clearer to see. It's just a hell of an undertaking. But either way, one of the pictures that was taken, as I mentioned, the frame, was taken on 11/22/66. The Lunar Orbiter 2 was fulfilling its purpose and captured one of the first images to ignite the hearts of aliens on the moon. Alien on the moon theory lovers, like ourselves. The Blair Cuspids, as they are now known, are a series of tall tower-like structures photographed with long shadows in a tetrahedral pattern.
Now I see.
You see, so
I was sitting here looking at these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4,
yes,
5, and I'm like, what am I supposed to be looking at? But now you said that, I could see the shadows, and okay,
yeah.
all right.
So they got these weird. For everyone not looking at this, Josh and I have the pictures opened up so we can both look at him, talk to him. Because I read the book, he is now seeing these for the first time. So yeah, they're these weird, I don't know, what do you say, like cone type structures?
They look like triangles.
They
so
do.
I mean, cone? They could be pyramids. Who knows? They're just
Either way.
triangular shape. Then again, when you do even when we have shadows, it kind of tapers at the top. So
Right. But either way, that's those. So many argued for years that these spires, as the book called them, needed to be investigated. But unfortunately, with our modern HD camera, the structures were identified as no more than just boulders. But this wouldn't be the last they've heard of us. So
we will be back. Pumping the fist towards the sky.
Yeah. So for years and years, those were a major picture. That was a major picture. Everyone was like, holy shit.
So they debunked said picture.
This one has been debunked.
I like that.
Modern.
I like when they debunk stuff.
Right. With modern cameras, you're able to see and make out that it's just boulders.
Gotcha.
You actually can see the modern side by side, and they're in the same position.
Gotcha.
But that is far from the last of what we've got.
I think you just heard me scratch my beard.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So the next one we're going to look at is called Ukert.
Euchre.
Ukert.
Not to be confused with the game Euchre.
Never played it. So as stated in the book, the problem is not what to look for, but where to look for it. The moon is an enormous place, and we have thousands upon thousands of pictures, like we were just talking about.
Too many.
Yeah, and
not enough.
How many years? I mean, we didn't even get into the lunar missions past, Apollo 17, but there's many probes, that unmanned ones, that went and took pictures.
As well as we didn't get into the robot things that are rolling around taking pictures. Right. But they also have that on the Mars right now. There's some pretty cool pictures. Isn't there a doorway?
That's what I just saw there.
Yeah.
It was a pretty wild looking doorway.
Yeah, but that's the Mars missions, not the moon missions.
Yes.
Tell me about Ukert Crater.
In the 1990s, researcher Richard C. Hoagland was...
You had the fun names, I see.
Yes. Was given a 1960s era catalog of photos of the moon taken from different observatories, Earth-based observatories, obviously. He was looking at the photos of the crater Trisnecker and found an odd crater next to it. The crater was shaped in a near-perfect triangle. This triangle was named Ukert. The side bordering the triangle had a reflective glow to it, and Ukert is found right smack in the middle of the moon with the Earth perfectly in view of it. So, Josh, are you looking at the picture?
I sure am.
Yeah. This is the only picture I could find of it. That was the same picture in the book.
Right.
Ignore the right picture. The left picture is what we want. The right picture was someone was just like, here's another symbol.
Yeah, I'm looking at it like, this triangle doesn't make sense.
Yes.
The triangle is a different way.
Right. So if you look at this picture of Euchre, you can see these glowing, edges around it.
Right.
It's strange.
Is that from this? It's confusing because if it's the sun, it'd be one side, not the whole circle around it.
Unless it's facing, but this is the side facing Earth too.
Right.
Right smack in the middle. It is also located in the Sinus Medi region, which is a very big region that they talk about in the book. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't have time to go into on this because there's a lot of stuff. This region was originally the first choice for the Apollo 11 landing site, but was all of a sudden thrown out for a different landing site.
Because the alien said, fuck no.
Right. The crew of the Apollo 10's mission was to enact a dress rehearsal of the Apollo 11 mission up until landing. The crew went all the way to the point where the landing procedure would kick in at around 8 nautical miles above the surface. The lunar module then orbited the moon 31 times before safely returning.
31. How long does it take to go around the moon 31 times?
That's a great question. Well, if it took, let me see. Go back to my truth facts about truth facts.
Truth facts about truth facts.
Evans set the record for 75 orbits lasting 145 hours, 47 hours, 48 minutes.
So maybe half the time. So it's not as... No, yeah, it was... Yeah.
Yeah, so about half the time.
Words were not coming out, so I just aborted mission.
Abort. 31 times before safely returning. These astronauts took many pictures of the Sinus Medi region on their trip. If the idea of landing there was thrown out, then why were they asked to take so many pictures? And why were the pictures of not mostly flat landing sites, but mostly of odd geometric anomalies or mountainous, hilly areas on the surface?
Maybe they could have been just researching the surface.
They could have been. They probably were.
This was after the abortion of the landing spot there, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So this Haugland guy, after finding the triangle, then began...
Haugland, motherfucker.
After finding the triangle, he then began searching through photos taken from early unmanned probes like the Lunar Orbiter missions. Now we get into some other stuff we found.
Ooh.
So if you turn your textbook to page...
The Shard in the Tower?
Yeah, I like this one.
This is interesting.
Haugland discovered in one of the pictures a 1.5 mile high obelisk that they deemed the Shard. This fucking thing is wild.
This doesn't even look like the moon.
It's weird. In the picture, you can see the main structure, which is casting a shadow. And I don't think you can see it in the picture I have, but on the book you can see it.
Yeah.
There's also another structure behind it, which stands an estimated 7 miles high. And its base originates somewhere beyond the horizon. So it's on the other far side of the curvature.
Okay.
The apex, the curvature.
No. 7 miles high?
Yeah, so if you see that little blurry spot,
I do. Yeah.
So when it's zoomed in with a higher contrast in the book, you can actually see that there's a whole nother like shard type. But at least the main shard that you see, the shard's the closer one that you see the full thing. The tower's the one behind it.
Doesn't even look like it belongs
It's
there.
not a natural forming thing. And this is like I was saying earlier too, and the other one was these exposure times were so quick that whatever this was, it would have had to have been a real thing. Because if you look at the surface around it, I mean, it's just washed out. And
yeah, I see that. I also see this middle right side of the picture coming from the black to the... Now, that could be just on the picture, but there's like a... What is that? Trail.
Yeah, I don't know. That's strange too.
Again, like maybe it's a pubic hair again. Short and curly.
What?
Short and curly.
Short and curly. So yeah, they sit on a flat region and stick out like a sore thumb, wouldn't you agree? Against the crater-ridden surface. Against the crater-ridden surface of the moon. They both have a translucent look to them, and enhanced photos even show geometric shapes that aren't the pixels, but are in them themselves. So if you zoom in, obviously you're going to see a square pixel, but there's actually like shapes made out of these pixels in there.
Gotcha. The shard part of it.
Yes.
It looks like it's one of the stars in the background. I'm looking at the rest of the stars. You looking at the picture?
Yes.
Doesn't it look like it's just the same shape as one of the stars above it?
Well, if there is like a little star-looking thing above it, but there's the main part that's standing vertical
I see
underneath.
that. Yeah, that's
weird. It's the piece underneath. The other one's a star.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I've been looking at that thing like I'm pretty sure that's a star.
Yeah, no. It's the towering structure standing up. You can see that shadow cast.
And I see that.
Yeah.
But it says the, what does it say? It's the shard and the tower. I was looking for the shard.
Oh.
And all I can see is
when you're talking about the tower.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right above, some asshole drew a circle on this picture as
Yes,
if no one knew what it was. But right above that circle, you see that really faint little circle there, faint little blur.
Kind of. Above that, someone drew the circle,
yes.
right?
There's a
on
little...
like top, kind of on the left?
Yes, there's a little blur.
Nice.
Now, that is the tower. When it's zoomed in and it has a higher contrast in the book, you can actually see like a shape coming down, like the tower, like the shard next to it.
So you really can't see it then?
No, not right now.
So the shard is the thing we can visually see.
Yep.
The tower is not really visual right now.
Yes.
In this photo.
Yes.
Okay.
So the tower is supposedly 7 miles tall, and the shard is supposedly 1.5 miles tall.
Either way, that's fucking tall.
Either way, yeah. And obviously that's not something natural.
It's not?
No.
You mean we didn't just ship that there?
We could have.
Using what?
So enhanced photos even show what looked to be guy wires coming out of the shard, which is a common thing that's going to reoccur.
Yeah.
In all of these structures.
Man, I wish I could see that on.
Again, that's
I know
one
it's
of
in
those,
the book, but
that's one of those pictures that I can't
explain.
find.
Oh, you can't.
It's so weird. Like I look up, like this book gives you frame numbers.
Right.
I look up the frame number, can't find it. I look up frame number on NASA's website, can't find it. There's ones that I look up the frame number, it comes up right away with the NASA website, but there's one that you look up, you can't find it. It's strange.
Fuckers.
Yeah. Another wild and wacky and interesting thing.
Wild and wacky facts?
Wild, wacky truth facts. There is an occurrence called transient lunar phenomena that have been witnessed on the moon.
TLP?
TLP. So TLP are temporary changes in the lunar surface, such as color or reflectivity. Now, the book has gone into, I think, 12 or 15 notable TLP occurrences in history, and I think, they go back to, 800.
800?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
80, yeah.
Oh.
Or BC.
You're talking about
historical
time.
Yes,
I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about 800 photos. It's like, oh, okay, well, it's not as bad as
historical. So I got a couple notable ones.
See?
On April 18th, 1787, British astronomer Sir William Herschel. I also picked a lot of these with names that are easy to pronounce.
But why? It's fun saying hard names.
Right, Huygens.
Thanks
for the info, sir. He witnessed Sir William Herschel witnessed 3 red glowing spots on the dark part of the moon. The brightest of the 9F. The brightest of the 3 was said to be brighter than the recent comet that had been seen. This all happened at the same time the aurora borealis was witnessed over Italy, an event rare to see that far south of the pole. So,
Oumuamua? No.
What in the hell?
Oh, okay. You said comet. You said comet, and I didn't know if you were talking about Oumuamua or.
Oh yeah, Oumuamua. No.
Oumuamua. I like that name.
Oumuamua. 2 things happened. You got this TLP witnessed on the moon, and at the same time, there's the Northern Lights being viewed over Italy.
I saw a video with the 3 red dots you were talking about. I was looking at it thinking that almost looks like the ass end of a spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
The triangle shape, right?
Uh-huh.
But then I realized they only had, I think 2 rockets back then. 2.
Yeah.
It wasn't a triangle. It was just 2 side by side.
Well, depending on when it was.
Well, that's true. It doesn't. If it doesn't tell.
Well, Saturn V was 1.
Oh, Saturn V was 1?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I should have known that.
Well, it would blur into 1. Because you got the few of them next to each other.
Jesus?
Yes, my son. Another event was during the Apollo 11 mission. Houston had been advised by astronomers in West Germany that a TLP event was seen in the area around Aristarchus, place on the moon. In case you were curious.
But it could have been German, too.
Yes.
Aristarchus.
Right. Houston asked Apollo to observe and report. Mm-hmm. Armstrong radioed back saying, "Hey, Houston, I'm looking north up toward Aristarchus now. There's an area that is considerably more illuminated than the surrounding area. It seems to have a slight amount of fluorescence." So it was even witnessed by the Apollo 11 crew. So
that was going 2, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I remember Buzz Aldrin's. There's something outside our keeping pace with our ship stuff, but
yeah,
that's later.
It's a little later. One of my favorite photos of weird things I saw on the moon is called the castle. So the castle is exactly as it sounds.
I found it.
It's an odd geometrical shaped object that resembles a castle.
It's like Castle Grayskull.
It's a weird looking thing.
Or the Wizard of Oz Emerald City Castle.
Yes.
He's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I got Grayskull, but I don't understand the Wizard of Oz reference.
So you can't tell in this photo, apart from the background, but it is actually hanging 9 miles above the surface.
9 miles above the surface?
Yes, this picture, the only picture I can find of it, is zoomed in drastically, but that is above the surface of the moon. Now, could be a UFO, but it is also accompanied by smaller castles around it on enhanced images. You can't really see it in the one I could find. Again, in the book, you get all these pictures.
It's weird because it kind of looks like it could be a reflection halfway through.
Yeah.
Or just missing stuff. Or an alien spaceship.
Yeah.
Or a very long tower.
Any of it.
Or I'm done.
But on the enhanced version, you could see smaller, quote-unquote, castles around it.
Yeah.
Could be a mothership. But other enhancements show that the castle's photo actually appears to have a wire suspending it. And not only is there just a wire going through it, but it also sags from the weight of the castle, quote-unquote, the structure. A later photo released from NASA, the same frame, same picture, these lines are gone from it. So
was the castle still there, though?
Castle was still there, but the lines are gone. So I don't know. But you could say maybe it's the lines for field of reference of the camera.
Right.
But those lines are straight. This one is sagging with the whatever the structure is, might have weight to it. I mean, maybe it's like I don't even have enough knowledge to speculate it.
Of course. But are the lines in this photo right now?
I thought I grabbed the one. Yes.
Okay. I thought that's I was looking at the same thing. All right.
So there's that one, and then if you look at the top point of the structure, there's another one.
I see. Yep. I see them both.
Yeah. So.
But that could just be from the photo, couldn't it?
Yeah. And I think there's another one going this way. If I'm going the way the lines are going with you right now, then I'm wrong. But from the top point.
Top point.
If you look, it's hard to tell. But either way, there's lines that can be seen in this photo that the author believes might be guy wires. Some of these anomalies lead credence to the dome theory.
I like dome.
Oh, like we talked about, we already know what the dome theory is.
Yeah.
So the dome theory would suggest that it was set in place to protect an advanced civilization city below from meteor bombardment, or maybe for artificial atmosphere. Obviously, we can't survive up there without spacesuits, so maybe there's probably a good chance that something else probably couldn't.
Right. Terraforming the moon, except not terraforming it.
Right. Remember when I told you to remember Surveyor 4?
Yes, I do.
Yes, we're going to talk about Surveyor 4.
Let's talk about it.
If you remember, Surveyor 4 failed.
Into the moon.
Yes.
Or was that the failed crash?
Failed crash. Surveyor 4 was an unmanned probe that disappeared without a trace during its landing procedure on the moon. This one was supposed to land.
Disappeared without a trace.
Just vanished.
David Blaine.
It is widely known, based off of NASA's official statements, that this probe failed at some stage during its final landing and crashed into the soft landing location of the moon.
It got fucked.
Well, yeah. But the probe crashed in the Sinus Medi region, which again is where most of this weird shit is.
Right.
It wasn't until after they successfully landed Surveyor 6 on 4's original mission to that area and observed the pictures taken that they then decided to cancel Sinus Medi for the landing zone of Apollo 11. So Surveyor 4.
So it's almost like there's some shit there.
Yes.
But they were like, oh, nope.
Yeah. Surveyor 4 disappears without a trace during its landing sequence. They make Surveyor 5's already in the process of its mission.
Right.
Or getting ready to launch. So then they make Surveyor 6.
Of course.
To
make up 4.
Yes.
Got it.
Same place, landed I think it was 50 miles or 5 miles. It was very close to the original landing point of 4,
Right.
but it was moved just slightly. So landed, took pictures, and then once they saw the pictures from that, they decided to cancel that area as the landing location for Apollo 11.
So are those pictures anywhere? Or are they kind of just talked about and never seen?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a yes.
Any
hackers out there, please go find Surveyor 6.
Well, those were all the old negatives, and that was around the time, or that's all the kind of stuff that guy was told to destroy stuff. There's a story in there. Now, I didn't take notes on this, so I'm going off of memory at this point.
It works for me.
There's a story in there where this guy who works for NASA is looking at pictures from one of the missions with a guy higher up, and they see these like structures, like legitimate structures you can clear as day make out. None of this like speculating, looking at them, trying to point out things that we're doing.
All
Like,
the blurry
up.
pictures, they're like clearer.
Yes. And they're looking at him, and somebody, whether it's the guy who worked for them or the higher up, was like, look at those structures. Those are crazy. Look at this, all this stuff, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're going through them. Next day, this guy has the pictures, and he wants to go show his colleague. And he goes to show his colleague, and it skips those frames. They're gone.
Well, yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
You silly
frames
fool.
are gone. So he's walking around. He's walking on this wherever this place is they work, and he walks by this higher up, and he goes, "Where were those structures in the pictures?" And the guy did exactly that. He smiled and looked at him. And he goes, "There was never any structures there. What are you talking about?"
You must have been mistaken.
Skips like from frame 58 to like 64 or something like that. It's like obviously there's missing there.
No, those are black photo, like. Blacked out. They weren't no good.
And he also talked about, this guy in there talked about how he personally witnessed people airbrushing negatives.
You can okay, different age, I know.
Yes.
You can airbrush negatives.
Apparently. So getting back on.
Airbrushing negatives.
Yeah. So getting back to it, this was originally supposed to be the location for Apollo 11. But it was changed after that. So the disappearance of Surveyor 4 might not have been as cut and dry as we were told. NASA's official explanation is that Surveyor 4 suffered a catastrophic chemical fire. But as the book points out, if this was the case, then the fire would have started and spread, and they would have seen systems shut down one by one as the fire spread.
Right.
Because it didn't crash yet. It was still flying through the atmosphere on a descent.
And then it got fucked. Blown out of the sky.
So they would have seen these shut down one by one, but the problem is that it just disappeared in a second. Just in one blip. It was just gone.
Almost like it was shot out of the sky.
Or, remember, rendezvous radar. Maybe there was a structure it crashed into.
Oh.
And the speeds at which these surveyors are coming in would have completely annihilated and obliterated it had it crashed even into a rock or a mountain. Say there was a mountain.
Right.
At that level. It didn't have its landing thrusters on to slow it down or parachutes, none of that yet. It was still in a descent.
Right.
So it was flying in, and it would have just completely obliterated it in a second.
They had no cameras on these things.
No. Well, they did, but it didn't take a picture of the landing. And if it did crash into something, you think they would have shown that?
Yeah, I want to see. No, they probably wouldn't have gone back for number 6. They'd be like, hey, fuck that shit.
Yeah. Oh, I did write in here. Surveyor 6 landed a half a mile away from Ford's original landing zone.
Gotcha.
So this thing might have crashed into something. Then they land Surveyor 6 half mile away. Same region, but they moved it.
And?
That was it.
Oh.
They took pictures.
And then they just,
And then they moved on with it.
Fuckers.
Yeah. So at the time of us doing our lunar missions, Soviet Union was doing their own.
Yes, they were.
You talked about Sputnik. But they had a series of missions called the Zond missions. Zond.
Not as cool as Apollo.
Nope. They also didn't have as good of cameras as us. And their cameras were pretty rough.
Fucking Soviets.
But they still had some wild occurrences in their pictures.
Yeah.
So the Zond missions were Soviets' 1960s flyby probes. Their goal is to fly by a target and snap pictures. Some of them missed the moon. So
seems to be a common theme.
Yes. Some of them missed them completely by miles. Couldn't get good pictures. Some of them were right there. Got good pictures. So Zond 1 was sent to Venus successfully, and Zond 2 was sent to Mars successfully.
Beautiful.
So didn't worked out for them there. Zond 3 was intended for Mars as well, but missed its window and snapped pictures of the moon on flyby to salvage the mission. So yeah, they were going to send it to Mars.
That's what I'm looking at right now, I
They
think.
sent it wrong. Yep. So Zond 3 took...
We were going to Mars, but we hit the moon.
Yeah.
The hell?
Well, they missed it, and they're like, well, shit, now what? We spend a lot of money on this. They're like, oh, we'll send it to the fucking moon. You get a better window. We get a window once a day for that one. So they sent it to the moon instead. So it took 23 photos, and their cameras were worse than what we were rocking, but two of the images capture incredible things. The first image, frame 25, shows another tower structure jutting out of the surface.
I see it.
See it. This one stands, you ready for this? 20 miles high.
It's not that tall. 20 miles.
Yeah.
Lord.
It is seen in the photograph on the horizon of the moon, but its base is not visible because it's around the side of the moon as it's flying by.
Right, so it's almost like a tower that's looking before the base.
The tower is not seen in the next frame or the frame after. Oh, in the next frame, because as they were moving, as Zond 3 was flying by, it was going away from its field of view.
Oh, it was going the opposite way.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So it was seen for a quick frame because it snaps a frame every couple seconds, and this thing's fucking flying. The next frame that was taken was 34 seconds later, so it was 30 seconds had passed, so they were moving by. But the probe was flying by, and the tower had passed out its line of sight. So in the second image was framed 28, I think it was.
Yes, 28.
That's what I thought. The second image, frame 28, shows a large dome-like structure on the bottom right corner of the picture.
I was looking at that. I'm like, that looks like a fucking stick holding up a fake moon.
It's weird. It enhanced photos in the book, and I think you can kind of see it clearly in this one. It has like a battered look to it, and it looks like a legitimate glass dome.
Right.
But it's got a battered look to it, like it's been pelted. You can't really see it in this one.
It's just all white.
Yeah, it's really, really high contrast in ours.
Yeah.
But in the book, you could see like it's been pelted.
So it's like dense or...
Yes, but it's like not cratered like the moon surface to be confused. It's really shiny dome, like glass dome.
Now,
but that's a big fucking...
It is. And is it a dark side or light side of the moon? Light. Okay.
Yes.
Can we see it now?
I think so.
Okay.
I can't remember which crater it is. But, yeah, so that was the Zond missions. Mare Crisium. Remember, mares are the dark area.
Yes. I'm so sorry.
I
thought you were talking about Mayor, and I was like, who the fuck is this character?
Mare Crisium is a 350-mile wide mare in the northeast region of the moon, when observed from Earth. It has 3 prominent impact craters, and it's called Swift, Pierce, and Picard.
Oh, Picard.
Yes. Mare Crisium is a source of a mass concentrations of gravity. Mm-hmm. The mare has a smooth, flat, grade topography. The theory on how it was formed was due to a large impact that melted the surface, and the debris from the projectile and the surface of the moon itself created a molten lava-type pond that cooled and formed the surface this way. There are at least 12 recorded TLP events occurring over the Mare Crisium dating back to 1882. And the theory goes that the glass structures would reflect and bend the light to form multicolors or other strange light anomalies. So they think that these TLP are kind of like when you have the glass pyramids, and you see the rainbow coming out, the prisms.
Yes.
Yeah, so they think that these TLP events are caused by the light reflecting through all these glass layers.
Which would make sense. It's the same theory.
Yep. Spires, towers, bridges, and even what looks to be a satellite dish have all been spotted and analyzed in photographs taken from the Mare Crisium on the moon. Again, all in the book. I don't have the time to go through all of them. But all these major events or major structures and anomalies have been recorded there. Mare Crisium is a hotbed of anomalous pictures, all taken from various missions, manned and unmanned. There's a whole chapter in the book culminated in what was a picture examined from the Apollo 10 mission. So the flight path took them across the southwest region of the Mare, taking pictures as they went by. In one particular frame AS10-30-1421.
It's a hell of a name.
AS10, usually what I've learned in these frames, is the first bit is the mission. So like
Gotcha.
AS10, Apollo 10 mission.
Look at you.
LO2, Lunar Orbiter 2.
Makes sense, actually.
Yes. In one particular picture, the researchers and author were studying a weird flare that showed up on the northeast edge of the Mare as they looked across Picard. But upon closer analysis, the author also noticed a glass dome in the typical dome fashion. I cannot find this picture anywhere.
I was about to say, I have no more pictures here,
other than in the book. It's in the book, but...
The picture in the book.
Yes.
See the class dome?
Yes.
Clearly?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, with the imagination, yes. It's
Well,
not with the imagination. It's there. It's
yeah.
weird. It's there. I'll give some evidence here in a minute if you're able to look at it. The picture looks to be a side-on view of the dome with the ridgeline of the mountains of the Mare seen behind it, proposing that it sat in the Mare itself and wasn't a formation of the mountainous ridge. So you're in this Mare. It's obviously like you got the mountain around it because that's your, grade level.
Right.
And he sits in. So this dome is like right on the edge of the mountain going up to bring it back up to level. And you can see the dome ridgeline, but then also behind you could see the mountain. So it's in the Mare, but it's right on the edge.
Gotcha.
The enhanced contrast photo clearly outlines a glass dome clear as day, and the author mentioned structures and protrusions from inside of the dome, but I couldn't see that. There was all sorts of shit he was seeing in there I did not see.
Little stretch, huh?
It was a hell of a stretch. But there was a lot of research and analysis done that the author did on this particular photo. The book is incredible with photos and decades of research analysis to back up the claims. Highly recommend it. And that is as far as I'm going with the research in that book.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of shit in there.
A lot of visual
shit, but it's definitely a good book to check out.
Definitely.
For sure.
So that's a bit of structures on the moon. I know when I love your is like way back here.
It's your turn to talk.
Yeah. Oh, take a nap.
Yeah.
Take a nap. So when in my research,
Yep.
in my research of the structures on the moon, I didn't read a book.
Yep.
I just read an article from a dude that I can't really use any of the pictures or stuff.
Nice.
Let's just say he used a tactic that kind of helped me see things. Or he would take known sites on Earth, like pyramids of Giza and Machu Picchu and all that.
Yep.
And he put them in the resolution that was similar to what the moon resolution was and showed what the structures would look like in that resolution that we know are actually like the pyramids are really here and all that. And it helped with the other photos that he was showing to see what he was talking about. And some of that was like, he showed a picture and it looked like wagon wheels.
Yep.
That could have been like a generator on the moon in one of the craters. So yeah, these giant wagon wheels that, I mean, they look similar to what an old generator, not an old generator, just a generator would look like in the Star Wars movie, if you remember.
Cool. Can I lead some expert opinion here?
Yeah.
Motors are round, and they have a coil on the inside of them.
Did I say motor?
No, I'm saying it.
Oh.
Because That would be a generator.
What would be?
So there's a coil,
Mm-hmm.
and it would look similar. It's round, so it would look similar to a wheel like that.
Yeah.
Electricity would probably work the same way, whether you're from here or Mars
Or the moon.
or the moon.
So you're talking about the generators or motor?
Well, it's
The same thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it tracks.
Gotcha. It tracks.
It tracks.
So these appear to be giant generators or motors.
Yes, it's a coil. Yes,
The coil. And they look to be approximately standing the average size of a skyscraper on Earth.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that's a giant. Like, would that be generating the moon base? You have a cool-looking crater. It's called the Elephant Head Crater, if you want to look it up.
Fascinating.
So it's a crater. You can see what looks like an elephant with the trunk going down into the crater.
I'm looking it up.
Yep, Elephant Head Crater. I hear a fucking fly.
Oh shit! I thought there was a motorcycle
No,
outside.
that's a fly.
All right, Elephant Head Crater. I got it. All right, back in. Tag.
So the Elephant Head Crater looks like an elephant that is getting, as he puts it, a drink of water out of a large bowl. That's a bee, not a fly. Yeah.
Ow! Fuck.
Or being attacked. The government's getting us.
Oh shit! We know too much.
They sent the killer bee. Don't swing them at me.
I'll try my darndest.
Fuck you.
It's not gonna like this. Oh shit! Where'd it go? It's been hit towards me.
Not only has it been hit towards you, the
It's
bigger issue is it's going to be pissed off.
And it's completely gone. There it is.
Where? Home run hit, baby. He's obviously still alive.
Not anymore. I squished the shit out of him.
Ha! Government,
Oh, like a
you can't
man.
get us.
There's $1 million bee drone. Crushed.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, fucking hey, right, doggy.
So this Elephant Head Crater, I don't even know how to get back into this because I don't know where we left off, and we got
Elephant
attacked by a
Head Crater.
bee. There was a little pause there. So the Elephant Head Crater, so we're just going to start here. It appears to be an elephant drinking out of like a large bowl.
Sure.
Which you are looking at.
I'm looking.
Yes, you are. It's said to kind of look like what it would look like to mine. So maybe it's like a mining apparatus. Oh. Then you have the moon glider. Now this one is hard for me really to kind of see.
I see it.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult for me. The tilted thin ring on the left in the center wraps around the fuselage. I see it now, yeah. So it kind of looks like a airplane glider on the plane, on the moon, on the plane. But yeah, so just taking a different approach to how you look at it.
Mm-hmm. I like the one titled World War Moon. It's a wild topic. The giant wheel. That's weird looking.
Yeah. How'd I skip that one? Giant wheel that looks like the like a fallen Ferris wheel.
I like Ferris.
Yeah, but the fairest of them all.
Yeah, it does look like a Ferris wheel.
And then my favorite
Temple.
the temple on the moon,
That is pretty wild.
because it actually looks like buildings,
It does.
like a little city.
Yeah. It's like a straight up structure.
But I'm just gonna link. Oh, and then there's Evergreen Crater. It's like there's a crater, something coming up from the center. Looks like I don't even know what to call it, jetting out from the right, and a ball coming out in the left, or that's right, left, whatever.
Yeah, and you got something sticking up in the middle.
Yeah, I thought I said that.
No. It's okay. And when the artist paints it green, it looks like it's green. It
Yes.
does look like
So-
a tree.
So basically, it looks like a lot of artificial shit that wouldn't just, like, if you have a crater, you're not going to all of a sudden have something jutting out of the center of
Right.
it. But, so that's basically, that was the structures on the moon.
We encourage everybody, because this is difficult for us to convey what we're seeing. Everyone should do their own research, look at their own pictures, check out that book if you'd like, or check out something else.
And
if this is something that interests you, definitely look into it yourself, because you can get in some rabbit holes and find some stuff.
We will have this link to this website as well for you to check out in the show notes.
Yes.
But those were the structures. Now let's talk about the UFOs / missing audio conspiracy too. So on Apollo 11, there's some missing audio there. And 2 minutes of it is said to be of communication between Apollo 11 and NASA, or Houston. And it was said to be switched over onto the medical line, from the main line that everybody hears on the broadcast to the medical line, which was kept private for obvious reasons, in case there was a
medical emergency.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to have that broadcast over the...
Sure.
Oh, my leg got ripped off and I'm dying. I think it'd be a little quicker than that, but you get the point.
The lunar module will not take off and we're stuck.
Yeah. President Nixon, your speech is on. Well, on the medical line, this is the dialogue supposedly that happened between the Apollo, I don't know which astronaut. I'm going to go with Neil just because he's awesome. And Houston.
So is Buzz.
So, honestly, I should have you read one and the other, because right now I'm going to be reading both parts.
Should I bring up your notes?
Do it.
Where they
do you want to be a NASA or do you want to be Apollo 11?
It's like, what are your notes? Where are they? Are they in
This is 6-7.
part 2?
Yes.
The green and blue?
Yes, green and blue. All right.
Who are you going to be?
I'm going to be, I did the research. I'm going to be Apollo.
All right.
All right, so this is the supposed transcript on the medical line. You'd clear that throat. We need
ready for this
professional sounding NASA. Now, one thing also, well, you know what? I'll get into that afterwards. Let's just read it.
All right.
Why is Sasquatch popping around? Those are giant things. No, this is not an optical illusion. No one is going to believe this.
What? What the hell is happening? What's wrong with you?
They're here under the surface.
What's here?
Muffled noise.
Emission interrupted. Interference control calling Apollo 11.
We saw some visitors. They were here for a while observing the instruments.
Repeat your last information.
I say that there... I don't know why you didn't say I said. I say that there are other spaceships. They're lined up on the other side of the crater. Let us sound the orbital... And I'm guessing it cuts out there because it's like mid-word it stops. Orbita. In 6:25 to 5. Automatic relay connection are connected. My hands are shaking so badly I can't do anything. Film it. God, if these damned cameras have picked up anything, what then?
Have you picked up anything?
I didn't have the film at hand. 3 shots of the saucers, or whatever they were, that were ruining the film.
Control here. Are you on your way? What is your uproar with the UFOs? Over.
They've landed there. There they are. And they're watching us.
The mirrors. Have you set them up?
Yes, they're in the right place, but whoever made those spaceships surely can come tomorrow and move them. Over and out.
What in the actual fuck?
Now, I'm not saying this is actual dialogue or not, but this is, I've seen a couple times. This is what it's said to be on the medical line.
Mm-hmm.
And some people say, I'm a dreamer, and I'm not the only one. No. Just went with a London reference. They say, because it's so informal, right? Now, reading that long-ass transcript, if you remember.
Yeah.
The only times they were really formal, like Houston, blah, 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 and all that stuff, was when they were being kind of on TV. Yeah. Most of the time, it was like that. They were just talking. Mm-hmm. They were just communicating back and forth.
As you would, really, right?
Yeah. So when you say, oh, they didn't say Houston, blah, 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 or whatever, they weren't doing that when they weren't being broadcasted. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't stand out to me. Now, if this is true or not, I'm not going to speculate. Mm-hmm. It's just what I found. That, as well as UFO sightings. Aldrin saw a UFO while traveling to the moon, like on their way to the moon. Mm-hmm. He said on the broadcast, he said he saw a light out of his window. They were looking out the window. He was looking out the window that appeared to be moving alongside them. Now, remember how fast they were going?
Yeah, 20-something thousand.
20 to 25,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty light. Later, though, he claimed, and you speculate why. Later, though, he claimed that it was just the sun reflecting off one of the 4 panels that detached when they extracted the lander from the rocket. So they had to take the rocket, connect it to, or dock it to whatever the hell it's called, and take the lunar module and move it onto there before just getting rid of the...
Yeah.
So he was saying it was probably one of the panels that ejected when they were moving the lunar module over.
Ejected behind them and somehow got next to them to reflect light.
I'm all for that. There's a problem with the fact that it was still going the same speed.
Right.
Just when you eject it, usually you would
That's
eject
what I'm saying.
it backwards.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Away from you. But I'm not an astronaut or a scientist. So another report claimed Armstrong and Aldrin saw UFOs and structures when they were on the moon, which was kind of what we just covered in that fun play along
Fun
transcript. Now, there are some videos out there that show during takeoff and not takeoff, but takeoff from the moon, coming back to the Apollo 11, even the Apollo 17, they show shit just flying towards the moon. But there's never like you'd think you'd see like a crash or something. It's just nothing. And there's things flying away from the moon, and it could just be space junk. It could not be. There's no right angles. It's just one way and the other.
Yeah.
But that is that. And then there was talk about Apollo 17. Why was it the last manned mission to the moon? They were said that there was an alien presence on the moon that was ordered. Wow, good English. So that ordered them to leave and never return because they were trespassing because they claimed the moon as their own. And pictures from the mission contained spacecrafts. I didn't see any. I couldn't find any of these. But of course, if there are they going to be available on the web?
Right.
No. So yeah, those are the UFO sightings that I researched.
And structures that I researched.
And the Apollo 17 mission that we both researched.
Yes.
But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that this second part was hard for us to convey the information we were seeing.
Yes.
Because you guys, it's something you guys need to see on your own. So
visual.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a visual on an audio medium. So we highly recommend everybody do their own research and look into it because there's some really interesting stuff to be looked into. Check out the book. It's really good if you're interested in
What's the title again?
It is called Ancient Aliens on the Moon by Mike Bara. It will be linked in our episode notes.
Absolutely.
So,
For sure.
Everybody, thanks so much for listening to our 7th episode on the moon. Join us next Monday for our next episode. Tell a friend, rate us, review us, write us, email us at dtscast@gmail.com and at Don't Touch My Sasquatch Pod on Insta. Everybody remember, stay curious, be vigilant, and don't touch my Sasquatch.
Don't you fucking do it.
Peace. See ya.
Roll it. Me, you, and Little Squatch are ready.
Little Squatch
Look at him.
with his fucking 6-pack.
Like, what the fuck is this? You son of a bitch. 12 foot. It's a big statue. 12 inches.
I love the way you said that. It's a big statue.
Good Lord, what is that? Wood. See?
Lots of jingles. Restart. Get another one. Goddamn allergies. Fucking duck.
You don't want to fuck a duck. They're tiny.
Ooh.
Did you find it?
No.
No.
I found it.
Woohoo! Someone in France just checked out our website.
Français. Shout out, listener.
That is in the bloopers.
And we lost him. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to our 6th episode on the moon. And by 6th episode, I mean 7th.
Yeah.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening to our 6th episode on the moon.
7th.
Fuck, I did it again. God damn. I'm just cutting this.